This is 5 Minute Feng Shui Podcast, episode 129, The Feng Shui of Wind Chimes. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui Podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Hello and welcome to 5 Minute Feng Shui. I am so glad that you're here today. I'm glad I'm here today. We have a beautiful sunny day and I have spent a weekend working in the yard and finalizing a lot of the landscaping projects that we had planned on this year because, well, we have to. We're in South Texas and it gets hot. It comes to May or June. We can't do anything else outside. We pretty much, mix up a batch of margaritas and enjoy the summer, just cooling our heels and looking at the pretty landscape and enjoying the birds in our backyard. It's one of those things that I really feel like is the lazy days of summer that we have earned in the busy and productive days of spring. Well, before we get started talking today about wind chimes, and that is what we are talking about today, I wanted to read you a quick note. This has been edited down as a really lovely, lengthy, newsy note that I received from Mariana in California, and it really made my day. And when I think about how we've been distanced and isolated and just not be able to connect with one another, and then I receive a note like this, it warms my heart. And when I'm talking with you in a podcast, it just makes me feel like I am actually talking to you and like a friend. And this is something that means a lot to me when I receive those notes, because when I do sit down to do a podcast, it's the way I look at things, as if I were sitting on the back porch with you and we were having a nice cold glass iced tea. So let's jump on in, and I'll read you this letter. Like I said, it's edited down. It was really lengthy, but beautiful and lovely note that I so appreciated hearing from. She says, "Hello, Catherine Weber, Katie. I decided to write to you because what I have to share might make you very happy. I've always liked Feng Shui, and since I was 10 years old, and recently I listened to 123 of your podcasts in 28 days. It's actually more than that, because when I was around podcast 85, I decided to listen to everything again and take notes. I'm in the process of changing energy and everything around me for about the last 5 years, trying to reduce, to donate, and to declutter. It's funny because most of all the changes I did before listening to your podcast and after I listened, I realized that a lot of what you're talking about was things that I'm already doing. And some of the areas and the feng shui corners that I did feng shui without really knowing what was supposed to be there, like putting love messages at the right corner or plants or crystals. And now I'm fixing everything I don't like, or I'm replacing it. So far, I have made 187 pages of notes, and I'm planning to review them as I go along with my new house projects. Now, my second challenge will be to read all the articles on the Red Lotus Letter website. Laugh out loud. Challenge accepted. It's been a crazy 2020 with job and money challenges and COVID. To be honest, COVID is the easy part, but I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. So I put all my focus on my place and my apartment, and by doing that, I've had the best mental mindset in the year, even with all this mess. I'm also planning to get my finances straight to open a fund savings account too, that I've always wanted to do it, but now I'm encouraged to do it. Yours, Mariana in California. Well, Mariana, I just loved your note. It felt so personal to me, and I wish I could come over and watch a movie with you and have the afternoon to spend time together. Mariana redecorated her living room in a movie theme. And of course, we just had the Oscars last night. You're not listening to this. I'm actually recording this on a Monday. Typically, I do it on Tuesdays, but the Oscars was just last night. So it was very timely, her comments about making a movie themed living room. She's got the little popcorn popper. She's got movie posters up, and it just looks like everything is a filmmaker's dream. And I think she's done a great job. And, it's all I can say is sometimes when the only thing that we have left to do is something on our house, it's amazing how it changes your mindset. It can make you feel like you're making progress, and that the changes that you see around you just multiply. Change begets change. I'm a big believer in that. Energy begets energy. The more energy that you put out there, the more energy comes back to you. Well, Mariana, you just sent me a whole load of wonderful, wonderful energy, and I wish you the best on your apartment, all your changes, and getting that fun bank account set up soon. It's one of the things I love. It's the no regret spending account. All right, well, let's talk about wind chimes. This is something that I recently had a suggestion from. I'm trying to remember if it was on my Facebook group or where it was. But the suggestion was, would you talk about wind chimes and how you use them in feng shui? And I thought, well, I had talked about them. I thought I had anyhow, but evidently a quick look over the podcast listings, and there was not a wind chime podcast in there. So this podcast is dedicated to Mariana today because I know you're going to be taking notes, and that just thrills me. This is so great. Okay, well, let's start talking about wind chimes because this is one of the hardest working remedies in feng shui. Wind chimes and their role is to bring aid in many forms, whether it's to lift chi from a troubled area, to suppressing energy in corners where there's negative stars, to bringing you good news and help from influential people. Now, with all that wind chimes can do, wind chimes are a valuable source and an important tool in your feng shui arsenal. In short, wind chimes have two main roles, and that's to cure or to energize. But to get the most out of wind chimes, it's important to note there are actually several distinctions regarding wind chimes, like the number of rods that you have, the type that they're made of, it's glass or bamboo or metal. And knowing these distinctions will help you use them more effectively and correctly. And this is an important consideration if you're looking to achieve a specific result, like a greater recognition or more career help or better health. So let's talk about wind chimes and how to use them effectively in feng shui. We're going to start first by talking about wind chime materials. Now, you can find wind chimes in almost made out of anything. I've seen them made out of forks, old silverware, which is just beautiful because they just have this clear, beautiful ring to them. And I've seen them, out of teacups, you name it. If there's a material out there, there's a wind chime made of it for sure. So, but typically what we see are ceramic wind chimes, metal wind chimes, or wood wind chimes. They can be wood, they can be bamboo, something like that. But the type of material selected, it pretty much depends on what you're trying to achieve and where you want to place that wind chime. So if you have a metal wind chime, the best place for those is in the west, in the northwest, and in the north. Now, if you have an affliction, an earth affliction, which we can have every year, we have two of those, and the 5 yellow and the black 2 illness star. This year, the 5 yellow is in the southeast, and the black 2 is in the north. Now, here's the nice thing: a metal wind chime, and I always recommend a 6-rod hollow metal wind chime. I especially like the ones that are made out of brass. They're a little bit more expensive. Actually, they're quite a bit more expensive, but they are a great workhorse in feng shui. We really need those good quality brass wind chimes. And if you have the ability to get one, I suggest you have one because they're really great for that 5 yellow or that black 2. But they're also good when they're placed in areas, like I was saying, in the northwest or the west, because that's the metal location. Now, the other material that you might often see is bamboo. These are wooden wind chimes, and these wooden wind chimes, you don't want to put a wooden wind chime, let's say, for instance, in a north corner, because what that does is it represents wood in the north. That means, and what happens, what do plants do? They drink up water. And so we don't want to have an element, which is the wood, like bamboo wind chimes, in a water sector, because you don't want all that water energy to be drained off. In fact, what you want is to have a metal wind chime there, because metal makes water. So wood or bamboo chimes are best in wood sectors, in the east or the southeast. Now, they're also good in the south because, well, bamboo wind chimes, it's a wood element. And in the south, that is the fire sector, and fire is fed by wood. So if you've got a bamboo wood chime, make sure you place it in the east, the southeast, or the south. Now let's talk about ceramic or glass wind chimes. These are earth elements. Glass and ceramics are made from silicate is glass, and also from clay is an earth. It's derived from the earth. So these are best placed in earth sectors. The earth sectors are in the northeast or the southwest. Those are the big earth is southwest, little earth is northeast, but they're also helpful in the metal sectors. Why is that? We get metal from earth, so it's enhancing. The ceramic and glass actually enhances the metal corners of west and northwest, so they're perfectly fine placed there. Now let's talk about rods, hollow versus solid. Now there's some debate about rod types, but both solid and hollow rods work equally well. They just are used in a different way. So for instance, if you want to energize an area such as your career sector in the north, I would use a hollow rod. That's because hollow rods lift chi. If you think about a hollow rod, it's a lot like a soda straw. You sip your drink through the soda straw and it moves up. It's the same way with wind chimes. A lot of times we think about wind chimes as being something that you utilize for sound. And sound is beneficial. Sound is really helpful in the metal sectors of northwest and west, also in the north. But it's really the tubes. That hollow tube is what you're using to lift energy away. So for instance, you've got, let's say, a tree that's directly in line with your front door. You can put a hollow wind chime in front of your front door to lift and feed that energy up through the tubes and away from your house. So this is why we use hollow rods in that instance versus a solid rod. Solid rods are used when you want to press down chi. So for instance, if you have a toilet in the east corner of your house, you can place a solid rod wind chime in the bathroom over the toilet. Now that's something you could do. But is that really something you'd want to do? This is one of those things that I think feng shui needs to be in tune with what looks good, what seems natural looking. And wind chimes in a bathroom look odd. There's just no two ways about it. And usually if you've got a bathroom and you want to hold down the energy of the bathroom in any sector for that matter, close the door. I really don't recommend using wind chimes in a bathroom or really anywhere else except where you have the earth afflictions, and that's in the black 2 locations and the 5 yellow. There you might want to put a wind chime in your, let's say if you're in a bedroom, you have a bedroom, you can hang it up about head height. So kind of where you might place a picture. You can put a little hanger on the wall and put your wind chime there, and it helps to lift some of that earth energy away from you. We don't want to ever hang a wind chime over our bed or over our heads unless it's outside. Now you can hang a wind chime from the eaves, but you never want to put it where you're going to walk underneath it. We don't want to have anything funneling away our energy, right? We always want to keep our energy, but it's perfectly fine if you put it over your head, but it's away from you where you're not going to walk under it. Now, I've even seen massage therapists who will hang a wind chime over the massage table. And this is something you definitely want to avoid. We don't want to lift away a person's energy. We can lift away the energy of an affliction or something aimed at our front door, like a poison arrow, but we don't want to lift away a person's energy. Now let's talk about rod numbers. This is something that I get a lot of questions about. And should you use this many rods, 6 rods here or 5 rods there, or what number is the best for each corner? But as a general rule, really the number of rods is relevant to where you're placing that. So you do observe that number. I find that really your absolute bread and butter wind chime is going to be your all metal brass 6-rod hollow wind chime. This accents and activates the north, northwest, and west sectors. It lifts the energy away for the earth-afflicted sectors with the black 2 or the 5 yellow. This is your workhorse. It's the number one type of wind chime that you're going to want to use over and over and in a variety of ways. But let's talk about other wind chimes because, there are a lot of pretty ones out there and you want to use them with good feng shui. I totally understand that. So let's talk about them. The north. Now, this is the sector of career and opportunities and income. Single metal wind chimes, a bell, or a 6-rod metal hollow wind chime is going to be the best thing that you can put there. I like those wind chimes that sound like bells. You can choose them where they have like 6 bells. That's terrific. 9 bells even. That's perfectly fine. Just use any type of metal here. This is not where you want to put any kind of porcelain or glass chimes. The reason why is it will stop income, and we don't want that to happen, right? Now, when we talk about the earth sectors, the northeast, this is your education and your decision direction. The southwest, which is your relationships direction, your general happiness. This is where you're going to want to place the ceramic or glass chimes. You can use 5, 8, or 2 rods. Look for those that are in those numbers because those are auspicious numbers for those earth-related sectors. They would be perfectly fine there. And they're beautiful. There is a glass wind chime my mom gave me some years ago, and it was so pretty. And the tinkling sound of glass was really lovely, and it makes a terrific enhancer for those earth sectors. Let's talk about the east corner. This is your family relationships, the oldest son, our health. This is the sector of wood, of big wood. In fact, for the east and the southeast are both your the health of wealth, right, and the health of your wealth. When it comes to the east, that's your corner that is the ruler of your health and family, and this is your sector for bamboo or wooden chimes. And if you found some that have 3 rods or 4 rods, they're perfect in this corner. I love those bamboo wind chimes. They have that thunk 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 sort of sound, which is so beautiful. I think it's just a lovely entrancing sound, and this is the perfect place to put it. And this is true here in the southeast, which is our wealth direction. And you can use a bamboo or a wooden chime and use 4 rods. Whether you use 4 rods or 3 rods in the east is perfectly fine. You can also choose wind chimes that have any kind of fish or water themes. But again, we don't really want to have anything that's metallic in these 2 sectors in general, unless there's an earth affliction there. But you can also use glass wind chimes there, but I'm not as fond of them. I think that earth is usable by wood, but my feeling is I think those bamboo wind chimes are just so beautiful and perfect in this location, and they're great because bamboo is often naturally hollow. We use them make flutes out of them, and those bamboo wind chimes, and they're just beautiful to listen to, and so natural sounding. I think it's so beautiful. It's if wood were to sing, that's how it would sound. All right, now let's talk about the south corner. This is our recognition, fame, success, material abundance. That's all the nice things that making money can buy us. This sector is enhanced by the bamboo or wooden chimes. This is a really wonderful area to add any kind of wood chime that you have there. You can also use metal chimes because fire of the south corner, it controls metal. So it's okay if you want to put a metal rod there. Maybe if you have a chime that has, let's say, maybe 8 or 9 rods. 9 rods is the number of fire. So 9 rods, it would be just perfect in this location, as would wood chimes, because this is a usable energy. So if you need some more recognition, you feel like you're being overlooked, this is one of those corners that you can activate with wooden chimes, and look for that 3 tubes or 4 tubes. Now let's talk about the west. This is the corner of descendants. It's the corner of creativity and projects. This is a metal corner. So this makes metal chimes with 6 or 7 rods one of the best choices. You can also use 8 rods as well. You can also use the ceramic or glass rods in the west because the earth element is usable by the west metal that's located here. The same thing is true in the northwest, which is the sector of helpful people, international relations, and also the breadwinner. If the breadwinner is a man, this is the corner that has heaven luck and that sort of networking kind of energy. And if you feel like you're wanting to look for a new job maybe, or you feel like you need to make some meaningful business connections, this is a great corner to accent. The northwest corner can help make those people that can make things easier for you kind of appear. And this is a wonderful area for glass or ceramic chimes. It's also a terrific area for the 6-rod wind chime. You can also use 8-rod if you find those. Anything that similar or resembles bells. Bells are also terrific in the west and in the northwest. Sometimes there are these sort of pagoda type chimes that have little bells. Sometimes you'll see them at Asian emporiums and Asian stores, gift stores. You'll have those little tiny bells. These are really lovely accents if you want to get people's attention or the help of influential people, mentors, or people that just make your way a little bit easier. You can hang up one of those bell type chimes, or even just a 6-rod metal wind chime is perfectly fine. Hang that up and put a little fan on it just to kind of make it tinkle. And this is a really nice way of drawing and attracting that energy of people who can help you in your job or in your life in some way. And, we all need that, right? We all need people that help us along. So let's talk about some wind chime do's and don'ts. Don't hang a wind chime over a door so that either you or the door hits it. This isn't an auspicious way to hang a wind chime. Don't hang wind chimes in trees. The metal in the wind chime causes the elements to clash. Wood chimes are fine to hang in trees, but in general, hanging a big metal chime in a tree isn't good for the tree. The metal energy is harmful for the tree. I'd much rather see it hanging off the side of a house or something like that, or from a hanger. That would be perfectly fine. But if you can, do avoid hanging big wind chimes, especially large ones, in trees. Don't hang a wind chime over you wherever you are. If you're sitting where you eat, you work, you sleep, you never want to be directly under a wind chime. So make sure that you don't hang a wind chime anywhere where it's over you. Now, do hang the appropriate wind chime for the direction that your front door faces. You can hang it on either side of your front door. If your door faces a parking lot, an oncoming road, or other obstacle like a poison arrow or a tree, this is all perfectly great ways to use a wind chime as it's intended. Remember, the principle of a wind chime is not so much that it's going to make pretty sounds as much as it is going to funnel energy either to you or away from you. So in this regard, when you hang wind chimes on either side of your door because you've got something coming toward your door, maybe a road dead ends that way, or a curve in the road is aimed at you. Maybe you have a neighbor whose house is positioned peculiarly where the corner is aimed right at your front door. Those are all perfect ways to use a wind chime to deflect that energy. Do hang a wind chime in an area if there are more more than 2 doors in a straight line. That's one of the ways that you can use them. Many times we use faceted crystals whenever that sort of situation arises, but you can also use a wind chime to lift that energy away. And one of the reasons why we want to do that when you have more than 2 doors in a straight line is because it creates this funnel effect. And when you have let's say a front door or a hallway, and we have these multiple openings, what it does is it starts funneling energy and makes the energy very straight, very harsh, and move quickly. And this can become dangerous, especially if there's an affliction. So that's one of the reasons why we would want to hang a wind chime somewhere in the area if wherever there are more than 2 doors in a straight line. Now, you can use a 5-rod hollow or solid chime in the earth corners of the northeast or southwest. That's perfectly fine. You can also use them in the northwest or west sectors. You can use a hollow wood chime in the south and in the east and in the southeast. If you would like to use a pagoda-shaped chime with a hollow rod as an energizer, that's great. Remember, you can always use those as activators. And lastly, using a set of 6-rod hollow wind chimes to activate a missing northwest corner or activate the northwest corner if you have one is a great way to help you achieve more influence or attract people with influence who want to help you, gain more help from those people, maybe help the man of the house if he's the breadwinner. This is also a good way to attract a man if you're looking to attract a man in your life, or maybe you would like to just do some international travel or have more international experiences in your life. Activate that northwest corner. It's a wonderful corner for you. And I think it'll make a big difference in terms of having that type of heavenly assistance. That is a wonderful thing to have. All right, well, I want to leave you with 3 really important tips about feng shui wind chimes. And tip number 1 is you can use them as activators. Remember, this is a great way to activate the north for income, the northwest for influential people and help. And tip number 2 is maybe forego those wind chimes in the bathroom. Even though this is something that many feng shui experts say you can do to overcome a bathroom, I find that just closing the door is the best way to manage a bathroom. I wouldn't want to live without indoor plumbing, and I know you wouldn't want to either. And there's no point in hanging up a wind chime in the powder room or in your bathroom because it just looks strange. So we don't want to do anything that looks weird or somebody's going to roll their eyes at when they're in your powder bathroom saying, oh my gosh, can you believe this wind chime is in here? You don't want to do that. Instead, just keep the door closed and activate where the corner is that you are concerned about, that the bathroom is in that corner. So you can just always, if your bathroom is in the southwest corner of love, then you can always activate the southwest corner of your living room and the southwest corner of your bedroom to compensate for it. But let's not hang a wind chime in the bathroom. Tip number 3, remember to always keep wind chimes where they're not going to be over you. You never want to have a wind chime over your head, over your body, anywhere where you sit or eat, or if you're a massage therapist, you don't want to hang it over your client on the table. This is not something we want to funnel away a person's energy. We always want to funnel away negative energy, not people. Well, I hope this was a fun episode for you and that you learned a few things about wind chimes and how to use them effectively in feng shui. Have a great week. And remember, I always love to hear from you. Send me a note, or if you feel like it, leave an iTunes review. Have a great week. I'll talk to you on the next episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui.